A big thank you to Western Digital for supplying the review unit in today's video. That said, in the interests of full disclosure, the unit is being returned to them, and they have had no influence whatsoever on what I say or my opinions in this video. They're all my own. Again, thank you Western Digital. Hi and welcome back to Tech It Out. At the end of the last video I left you with this slide. The golden rule of data safety. Save your work regularly, back up to external storage, and make a second off-site backup, whether it be by another drive or cloud storage. We've plugged in our new drive, the My Cloud Mirror, and we next go to the WD website and download the WD Smartware software. After that's installed, you'll find a small applet appears in your system tray, and if you right-click on that, you'll find several choices. You got the Smartware itself, you got the two devices, I have two on my system, and of course a quick view setting there. If we go into the My Cloud Mirror, the new device, we have extra choices here. We can open up the file browser to see what's on there, go into the dashboard and do the settings. There's a learning center to help you along. We can map each of the shares to a letter on the file explorer of our system, or we can make a shortcut to one of those shares on our desktop or indeed any other part of the system. Shut down, of course, alerts and properties. If we now go into the My Cloud Mirror itself, and we'll start the initial configuration, we have the login screen here, which will be on admin with a blank password. This is default. Choose your language. We come to this next screen, auto updates firmware. Well, yes, I want that left on. Product improvement program. Well, I'm not going to participate in that because I'm not using this drive myself. It'll be sent back. And then a registration of your new device if you want to register it. We come now into the main dashboard, the home page, and as you can see, you've got all sorts of information on here about your drive, how much space is used, what it's used by, movies, photos, music, other files, its health status, and so on. So the next button is the users. You can see we've got admin on here. Then you have shares, which are the partitions for each of the drives. You can see there are already three set up: public, Smartware, and Time Machine if you're using Mac. You've got cloud access, which you can set up after you've set up your users and shares. This enables you to access the drive from anywhere in the world, really, using smartphone or PC. You've got your backups. You can back up the files on the drive to other places via the USB port, remotely. You can have internal backups, cloud backups, and camera backups, which is very interesting. If you've got an enabled camera, you can actually back up your files direct from your camera to this device. Next is storage and the storage settings. You can auto rebuild if there's a fault and you have to replace one of the drives. I'll leave that off for the moment. And then you have the RAID volume itself, and you can actually change the mode of the RAID. It's in RAID 1, which is mirrored, so you'll have a copy of the same thing on both disks, but you can actually change it to other RAID modes as well. Then you have the apps, which allow access to the system over the intranet. You can have HTTP, FTP, P2P, and the web file viewer. And you can set up each of the shares individually. So if we go back to the home page now then. At the top here you see a couple of extra buttons, you've got a USB. Of course, nothing's plugged in at the moment. You've got a notifications bar. You can see that the firmware has been updated to the latest version. We just close that. You've got a Getting Started wizard, Help, Support, and the About button. And then finally you've got the settings for hibernation, rebooting, and logging out. Go back to this button with the question mark and click on the Getting Started wizard. You'll see it's now asking for some information. Admin is already set up, but you can now set up another account. Now when you do this, you put in your username, your names of the person that relates to, and the email address. And once you click save on this, it'll actually interact with WD and it will send you your cloud account password as well. And it will set up your cloud account so you can access this unit from, as I said, any other PC, tablet or mobile phone using the cloud app. I'm not going to put the email in it myself at the moment because I don't need that functionality on this particular unit. I have set it up on my own unit. So everything is now set. And then you see it tells you you will receive an email with your login info. Even gives you a direct link to the app itself. Now if we go back into users, you'll see that we have admin, and you should at this point set up your password, turn in password on, and then put in your password in. Of course, I'm not going to do this at the moment because I don't need to. I'm not keeping this unit. Click on Add User, and we can add a user. If I just set my account up again, fresh, you can see how it's done. Again, first name, last name, email, and then your password. Once again, once you set it up for each user, an email gets generated with your login info for WD Cloud. So now we have this new account, Take It Out, and at the bottom here you see some other links. You can see we have, of course, the public access. Smartware we don't have access to. To change that, you just simply press the icon. Time Machine we don't have access to, but we have access to our own folder or share. If we go into shares, you'll see the 4 names there, but now we have Take It Out, the 4th one that we've just set up. Clicking on public then, you see the settings that are there already, but I don't want the public folder available. So I'm going to turn off all the settings so that the public folder is no longer available to anyone. Same thing with Smartware. I'm going to turn that one off as well. And the Time Machine, because I don't have any Apple products, I don't need that on either. Nobody now has access to the public Smartware or Time Machine. The only access available or share available is the Take It Out share. As you can see, I've actually given the admin full access to that as well, as I am the admin. I don't need the media server on because I'm not going to stream from it. I don't need a recycle bin because there are other settings for backing up, and I don't want it to be public. You can of course put a description in the share as to what this particular share is for. And if you want to set up another share, you just press the plus button and put the details in. Just briefly going back through it again then, you can see the users and the shares. Now if we go to cloud access, you can actually set up your cloud access for each of the users here. So you enter your email address and devices for admin and devices for Tech It Out. You actually add the devices as well. You get a code from the software here, and when you open your device, you put the code in and it connects direct to this device in your home. So now we then go back to the home page. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to set up another user so that you can show you how to share shares or folders, and also to set up a particular folder that can be shared by multiple users. As you can see now, I've set up the new user, another user, but the account there for Tech It Out is not allocated. So what we can do is we can either allocate it as a read-write or a read-only, or not allow it to be viewed whatsoever, simply by clicking on the buttons. Now when we go to Tech It Out, we see that the another users count is actually greyed out. This is because it's been set up as a public account. So what we need to do is to go in and actually change that to a private account. So click on another user in the share section, click on public to turn it off, and then when we go back, you'll see that it is now available. So we're going to give Tech It Out permission or not. And you can do this in both the shares folder and the users folder. Another user. Now it isn't actually allocated to another user, so now I'm going to allocate permissions. So now another user has its own folder. Tech It Out has its own folder, or shares, I should say shares. You can adjust the amount of space on the hard drive that each of the shares is allowed to take, and you can allocate groups. Now top level is the level that the admin has, which has full control of the system and all the settings. You don't want to really allocate anybody that setting. If we go into groups, so you can see that top level is there. And if we want to add the group, we just simply click on add and then name the group. Level 2, I'll name this one, and I'll give both Tech It Out and another user level 2 clearance. So now anybody in level 2 has permissions for any of the shares here that you see, simply by clicking on the share to give it that permission. What I'm going to do now though is make another share which isn't allocated to a user, and I'm going to call it joint for obvious reasons. Now when we go into the shares of joint, we can change the settings, of course, as with everything else. Now when we go back into groups and the shares of level 2, you can see the joint is greyed out again because it's public. So we need to go back into joint and turn it to a private share. And now when we go back into users, groups, level 2, you'll see that joint is now available to share. So we're going to make it available as a private share. Now we can log back in as the user Tech It Out. We can open the file browser and have a look at each of the file shares. As you can see, it now requires a password to get into any of them. You may notice that the shares that I disabled are still here. They still appear on the screen, but they are disabled, so no access can be gained at all, even if you have a password. Now we're going to look at the Smartware itself. This is what you use to build your backups with. Once you've opened it, you just select your device. So select the My Cloud Mirror. Select the folder that you want, the Take It Out folder. Then on your PC side, you select the drive that you want to back up from. So I'm going to select my editing drive. So you can do this either way. You can do it either computer first and then select your actual backup device, or backup device and computer. It doesn't really matter. Click on backup, and as you can see, it immediately has a preset here where it will back up your documents, your movies, music, and other files as well. And all you have to do is enable the backup and it'll start doing that automatically, which is ideal for somebody who just wants to use it for general use in the home. But if you are wanting to use more specific items from your main drive that you want to back up, you just switch over, and then you can see you have a file browser here that you can decide what you want to actually back up. And you can go into each of the subfolders, my uploaded files, and I can choose a video I've already uploaded and just individually back up that file. Or we can back up the whole folder or the whole drive. Apply changes, and it's ready to go. So now it's set to back up my whole uploaded folder. All I have to do is click Enable Backup. Of course, I'm not going to do it on this drive because there's no need to. And then you can set up the backup frequency. I like continuous backup myself, so as soon as a file is altered, changed, or a new file is created, it will automatically back up that file immediately. This is one of the best things that I've found on any software from any company. The ability to continuously back up immediately, so you're never afraid of losing something, unless of course it happens immediately as you save your document, which is very unlikely, of course. So you go back to home, and there it is, editing disk F, the unit I'm backing up to, go into backup. Then you can choose either the category backup or the individual file or folder backup. Click Enable Backup and you're on your way. It's so simple, so easy, so intuitive. And the same goes when you want to retrieve your backups. There's nothing of course in the list here at the moment, simply because I haven't done any backups. You can go into your software settings. If I click on that, you can see you can set up your file history. So you have a different number of files backed up. It's a bit like Ghost Backup on Windows. You can have 2 different or 3 or 4 or 5 different backups of the same file, regressing in history. You have the folder you want to retrieve to, your software updates, and you can set up your Dropbox account here by putting in your username and password. That's it. So easy to use, intuitive and powerful. Now if I click on the Dropbox, you'll see there's a little key on it, which means it needs the upgraded software to actually access this. And this comes as an added bonus with the My Cloud Mirror. So you just have to put in your name and email address, and it'll send you the key by email and enable the software so you can actually back up to Dropbox and to other devices as well. So that's it, the WD My Cloud Mirror and the WD Smartware software. All I can say for myself is that I've used the WD backup hardware and software now for nearly 6 years without problem, without defect, without fail, and it's always served me really well and saved me many times. I can highly recommend it. And again, thank you to WD for supplying the unit for review today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching.